Welcome to the city which is the centre of the world's New Year celebrations, Edinburgh. After Hogmanay and the bells, now it's the highlight of the football calendar, the traditional New Year City Derby.
Ryden lurking and pushed by Karapinis, penalty. It is Derek Ryden and it's 1-0 to Hibs. It's only their third win in a decade of coming to this ground. After unbeaten in the last 12 Edinburgh derbies. Waterspoon goes past McHattie, and the deflection takes it in! For the first time in 3.5 years, for the first time in 13 derbies, Hibs have beaten their Edinburgh rivals' Hearts.
A long-awaited win over Hearts came in the Cup. A month on, the Hibs players' New Year resolution is to win a league derby. They ended the old year in style by beating Celtic and travelled the 4 miles across town on a high. Hearts' game on Saturday was rained off, so they should be fresh as they try to extend their intimidating run against Hibernian in league matches. They've not lost any of their last 11 SPL meetings. Hibs fans have seen a huge improvement this season since the all-Edinburgh Scottish Cup final. Don't mention that 5-1 scoreline to them, but you can be sure that the Hearts fans will. Our first live game from Scotland in 2013. The Clydesdale Premier League action looks best in high definition on Sky Sports 1 HD, and it's also on your mobile device with Sky Go. Happy New Year. The atmosphere is always fantastic at Tynecastle, but under the floodlights in a derby at New Year, it doesn't get any better. Now, Sky's Neil McCann scored in the Capital Derby for Hearts, and over at the green end of the studio is a man who made his Hibernian debut here at Tynecastle and scored in 2 later derby wins, including Hibs' last New Year success back in 1996. Michael O'Neill is now the manager of Northern Ireland. Michael, Happy New Year to you. Tell us how special these New Year matches, the derby matches, are to play in.
Well, they're fantastic games. You know, the atmosphere tonight, as you see already, is going to be very intense. I think the games are frantic at times. There's not a lot of time on the ball for any of the players. But the main thing is obviously, you know, to try and get a result at the end of it. And you see here tonight, Hibs have come with a big support who I think are very optimistic about the night ahead.
Neil, has Edinburgh benefited from Glasgow losing the Old Firm game?
I think they have, yeah, and I think they're enjoying their spot in the limelight. It's arguably the biggest derby in the SPL calendar, and there's no better game to have a derby as the New Year's derby. And Michael said they're brilliant occasions to play in, and it's more for the fans than the players, because at the end of the day it's just 3 points, it's another 3 points, but it's a whole build-up. And it's a whole Hogmanay thing and the New Year's thing, and it's before we go on a winter break, so it's a brilliant opportunity to get 3 points, and especially over your biggest rivals.
Michael, are Hibernian right to be confident?
I think they are. You know, obviously, you know, they're higher up the table than Hearts are at this minute in time. Everyone knows Hearts have had their problems this season, and I think, you know, Hibs, on the back of a very good result against Celtic, which I don't think many people would have expected, they come into the game full of confidence. I think leading up to that, their form was a wee bit patchy, and that maybe weren't in their best run of form. But the Celtic result certainly, I think, will have them buoyant tonight, and Pat will be looking for a similar performance, and I'm sure a similar result.
From Hearts' point of view, the breaking news is that Andy Webster is injured and misses this game. Ryan McGovern, of course, in China at the moment. Are Hearts vulnerable at the back?
Well, I think with Andy Webster there, as Michael was speaking about it before the game, Tynecastle's quite a tight pitch, and Griffiths' brilliant movement, him and Doyle going into channels and really working them, and that's where Andy Webster enjoys, when it's tight and he can get people around him. With him not playing tonight, it's a big stage for Dylan McGowan, the brother of Ryan McGowan, of course, to come into that heart of the defence and try and deal with the goal machine that is Lee Griffiths. But a big game for him.
Well, the fans who came here in January 1973 witnessed 11 Hibs players become legends. Exactly 40 years on, we speak to some of Turnbull's Tornadoes and remember how they blew Hearts away in the biggest derby win of them all.
When you go to Tynecastle on New Year's Day to play the Hearts, you're no favourites. we used to sing this Hibs song, and we were just singing quite nicely, I thought, going into Tynecastle.
I felt at the time we were capable of beating anyone.
They had a chance, a right glorious chance, prior to us going on the score sheet. The chance fell to Donald Park. I mean, if that goes in, who knows? Their tails are up and we're down.
Hibernian were relentless in the first half with goals from Alan Gordon, Jimmy O'Rourke, Alex Cropley and a double from Arthur Duncan gave them a 5-0 lead at the break.
As a Hibs supporter, you know, Tynecastle, New Year's Day, 5-0 up, it was like a dream.
Half time, Eric Turnbull said to us, he says, right, sit down, get a cup of tea. He says, now, always remember it, he says, I don't want any man jack of you think this game is over. Because if they were in the same position, they'd want to grind you into the dust.
The second half was another game, and Hearts started well. You know, you're sitting there 5-0 up, you've got to start cranking it up again.
Second half goals from O'Rourke and Gordon made it 7-0 and to this day remains Hibernian's biggest ever win over Hearts.
It was like Ahmed Ali beating Joe Fraser and his 10 brothers in the one ring. It's just a great feeling.
Jimmy O'Rourke, who I happened to be sitting beside after the game, and he turned round to me. You realise you've just made history. This will never be repeated.
That's the wonderful thing about football, isn't it? When you turn up, you never really know what you're going to get. That game was so profound. They wrote a book about it recently, some 40 years on. Michael, will it be on the players' minds tonight that they can come here and become legends themselves?
I think it shows the nature of the game. You know, it's still only one game, but that team and that result, those great players that were involved in that night, they're still fondly remembered for that just one game. So there's always a chance, I think, in a derby game like this, to write your name in history for a long period of time. You look at people tonight like Lee Griffiths, who's having an outstanding season. You know, maybe there's something for him tonight that Hibs fans will remember for a long time.
How important is Lee Griffiths? How good is he?
For me, he's been the difference in Hibs' team this season. I've seen him on a number of occasions, and he's been the player that's either turned a defeat into a draw or a draw into a victory, and he'll be imperative keeping them to how they do in the second half of the season. I think he's really developing every time I've seen him play.
What about service for him tonight, though?
Oh, it's so important. If he's going to be playing up through the middle on his own, David, the service has to be of the type that it lets him get onto the ball and control it. There's no use pumping high balls up to him. We've seen that in the game against Kilmarnock. He didn't enjoy it. He needs the ball into feet, or he needs the ball down the sides where he can go and turn defenders. Michael's got Niall McGinn in the national team, not the biggest, so the service, he knows more than anybody, it needs to be absolutely bang on the money to get this guy alive and get shots at goals and possibly 3 points for Hibs.
The atmosphere is absolutely fantastic. Now let's gauge how the two managers are feeling in these tense final moments before kick-off in this absolute bedlam here. Pat Fenlon and John McGlynn are talking to Luke Shanley.
John, what would it mean to win your first Edinburgh derby in charge of Hearts at Tynecastle?
Yeah, it'd be a great relief for a start, yeah, it would be. I'm delighted that we're at Tynecastle tonight, January 3rd, perfect evening, mild January night, pitch in good condition, no wind, so it would be massive to give the Hearts fans something to go home about tonight and smile about and you know, have the bragging rights in the city again.
What have you said to your players tonight?
Go and enjoy it, go and play. If we can get a performance like we did against Celtic, then we should be okay. But we've got to go and embrace it and enjoy the game, I think.
Is it about coping with the atmosphere as well?
I think they're used to that atmosphere, you know. I think they've just got to go and play. I think what we did on Saturday against Celtic was when we had it, we played quite well, and defensively we were very solid as well. So it's got to be similar. It'll be hectic, I suppose, early on, like most derby games are, and we've got to deal with that.
Good luck tonight, Pat.
Cheers, thank you.
Up front for Hearts tonight is John Sutton. Was he a big miss in the derby, and does that give Hearts something extra from a month ago in the Cup?
Listen, I've said before, and I like Callum Patterson as a player. I think he's a fantastic young talent. I don't think he's a striker. He might grow into that role. I think he does his best work from wider positions. And this guy's been sitting on the bench. So I think when he's in the team, it's not only his goal threat, David, it's his link-up. And I'm a wee bit disappointed because I believe that Hearts are going to go with the one up front again. And I think they've been getting joy with two up front, with Sutton and Young. Smith working off into the shoulders and into the pockets. And I think he's good at that. He holds it, he's a big nuisance. It doesn't matter if he's not getting the ball straight to him. He's big enough and strong enough to get across defenders, unsettle them, and that can make things happen. So if he is playing up there on tonight, like Griffiths, the service has to be good enough. He'll hold it in, and it's important that they link the play from then on in.
Well, it's the highlight of the football season here in Edinburgh, the New Year City Derby. It's live next. Live action from the Clydesdale Bank Premier League, the traditional New Year derby in Edinburgh. Scottish Cup holders Hearts against their city rivals Hibernian. It's in glorious high definition on Sky Sports 1 HD. Commentators at Tynecastle, which is rocking now, Andy Walker and Ian Crocker.
New year, same old rivalry. In the absence of any old firm games, this is the biggest derby in Scotland right now. Can Hearts and Hibs put on a show tonight in the Scottish capital? The steep stands of Tynecastle lean down on the players. The fans are close to the action and will make their presence felt. Hearts and Hibs have seen quite a bit of each other lately. Familiarity breeds contempt. Hearts are without their most experienced Derby Day campaigner, Andy Webster. He's got flu, and with Ryan McGowan heading for China, they've had to reshuffle their defence. Hardly ideal. Ryan's brother Dylan comes in for his first taste of the Edinburgh Derby. Darren Barr moves into the back line. Scott Robinson and Arvidas Novikovas also start. John Sutton leads the line, but Ryan Stevenson has an eye for a Derby goal. The Hibs make just one change in the win over Celtic. Ryan McGibbon on loan from Manchester City. It's fit again, and so replaces Lewis Stevenson. If on loan Lee Griffiths is about to depart, he'll want to leave something to remember him by. Griffiths ended a 7-game goal drought at the weekend, but Owen Doyle has weighed in with 3 goals in the last 4 games. Gordon Smith drops to the Hearts bench after starting the last 4 games. On the Hibs bench, Lewis Stevenson, David Wotherspoon and Alan Mabry know all about these derbies. Mabry has played in it for both teams. Lee Griffiths has scored an impressive 14 goals this season, but his latest loan spell from Wolves is coming to an end. Will he stay or will he go? And Ryan Stevenson is in his second spell at Hearts. This is his kind of game. He's scored in the last 2 league derbies in the capital city. Before kick-off, there will be a minute's silence, a minute's applause for the long-serving club doctor at Hearts, Dr. Dewar Melvin, who died this week. He spent 32 years working at Tynecastle. Willie Collum is the man in charge of this latest Edinburgh derby. The SPL is taking a 15-day break after this game. It might need it to recover from the Edinburgh derby. It's Hearts against Hibs, and Tynecastle is most definitely in the mood for this, Andy.